Greetings folks, Matt Mickish here. So this video today is gonna be extremely important, extremely helpful. The name of this video is Masculine Competence. And what I mean by this is, it's not just, masculine men. It's everybody, female, man, every gender. This masculine competence, okay? The ability to be competent. When you say you're gonna do something, you do it and you do it the right way. You don't half-ass it. You don't half-ass anything. And I wanna give you a couple examples of masculine competence. Is really gonna open your eyes to this concept of being competent, and when you say you're gonna do something, you actually do it and you do it right. You're not just aimlessly slandering your attention, throwing away your attention, and not paying attention at all. So I'm gonna give you an example right now. So my mom, she always asks more questions if something doesn't seem right to her. Like, instead of being like, no, that's too much, like, I don't have time for that right now, I'm in a rush to get this done. She always asks questions if something doesn't seem right. And what I realized is I was like, my time's too valuable. Like, I gotta hurry, I wanna get this done. I have too much stuff to do, I wanna get this done. But my mom was like, she taught me that if something doesn't seem right, you should always look into it. You don't just go, oh, well, I don't have time for that. And I'm gonna give you an example right now. She went to get her oil changed at the dealership, right? She went to Ford, she was going to get her oil change, or they told her, hey, you need to get this 100K package when you have 100,000 miles. You need to get this certain package. So she was like, oh, okay, that sounds good, we'll do that. And then she finding out later during the appointment that she just got that package last time she came. So that was a fault of theirs. And they charged her for the same package as last time, which they shouldn't have. So she said, this isn't right. And her being a super strong woman, that's why I'm super strong, guys. She told them and showed them the receipts that she just got that same package, and they looked into it and ended up finding out that, it was their fault. And then she ends up getting the oil change for free. It just comes to show, when something doesn't seem right, guys, make sure you say something about it and don't be so passive. Like, even if you're in a rush, you still can't be passive like that. If something doesn't seem right or something seems too good to be true, usually is. You need to be willing to say something and assert yourself, because sometimes there's accidents that happen that aren't your fault. And there's things that happen that have nothing to do with you. And don't always believe something at face value, right? You wanna look into it a little bit and make your own thoughts, formulate your own opinion. And it's important in life too, in everything. You can't take something at face value. You have to formulate your own opinion. Just, do you guys understand what I'm trying to put out there? It's always good to ask more questions. And if something doesn't feel right, say something about it. And don't be so passive, and assert yourself. And make sure that you get a better explanation to soothe your worries. Here's another time. I went to get new tires for my sports car because I ran over some glass or something, and I take my car in, and I just got tires like 2-3 months ago. And there was a warranty on the tires that was like, if anything happens in 6 months, we'll give you a deal on the next set of tires. So they were like, they warranted the tires for 6 months to a year or something like that. And I just got them like 2-3 months ago. So I brought them in, and the Lexus dealership is trying to tell me, okay, we're gonna get you a new set of tires, full price. And then I tell my mom, because she's basically like my secretary, she's like, hold on, let me call and check and make sure that's right, because we just got those tires. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of in a rush, I want to get out of here. She took the time out of her schedule to do that for me, and she called them and explained to them that we had just gotten those tires and there was a warranty on them, and they end up looking more into it, and they called the manufacturer, and they end up like 30% off or 40% off for the next set of tires. So it's always good to make sure you're looking into stuff that doesn't seem right or seems too good to be true. If something doesn't seem right, guys, you have to make sure not to be passive and let it just flow over your head. Ask if you need to, okay? You're most likely never gonna see these people again in your life. Like, if you come into an interaction and something doesn't seem right to you, whether it's at a dealership or the other example I discussed with you, it's always good to ask questions and assert yourself and make sure you get explanations for things that don't seem right to you. So crucial, especially to your growth, guys, because if we're passive like that, we're not going to be growing like we should be. And it's super important to, stand up for what you believe in. And if something doesn't seem right to you, you should say something, and you should be willing to assert yourself and get answers, and not just let it fly over your head because you're in a rush or you don't feel like talking to anybody or something like that. So And now I want to give you an example of masculine incompetence, or just incompetence in general. So I'm in my car and I park somewhere. I park over here and there's all these spots open. Parking spot, 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 parking spot. I'm the only car there on this parking spot, okay? This guy in his Cadillac, his like 30-year-old Cadillac, comes into the parking lot, parks all the way up here, like 5 parking spots in front of me, and he's reversing. Now he's 4 spots in front of me, now he's 3 spots in front of me. He reverses all the way in front of me and then slowly backs up into the front of my car. He's looking, I'm watching him, like I'm watching this guy back up, get closer and closer and closer, and then he just bumps right into my car, and I get out and I'm like, dude, what the f? And then he's like, oh bro, I'm sorry. It just bumped it a little. And I'm like, no worries. I didn't see any damage, so I was like, no worries. But this guy could have parked in any of the other spots, but he decides to park in front of me and get as close as possible and bump right into my car. So I would say that is characteristically an incompetent person, because he's like not paying attention, not focused on the things around him. He's like sloppy, like he was either high or something, or on something where it affected his judgment. But this is just an example. There are people like this everywhere, and there's always scenarios like this that can happen. So that's why you need to be extra competent. When I say masculine competence, it does not just mean men, okay? Even if you're a woman, I'm saying, or any other gender, this masculine competence is about not being passive and letting things slip over your head, fly over your head, and actually asserting yourself so you get the answers you want. Actually asserting yourself so you're not getting walked over like a doormat. You know, a lot of these women should start saying no, because, you know, they're givers, and a lot of these women give a lot. Men walk all over them and treat them terrible. You know, a lot of them have a passive nature. And I'm saying, don't do that. Don't be like that. You have to be competent, and you have to be assertive in certain situations and not let people walk all over you. Because if you let people treat you like a doormat and walk all over you, you're gonna walk all over yourself. And that is not acceptable. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in. And this takes a certain amount of masculine competence. This takes you being assertive and not being passive, because feminine energy is more like passive, you know, victimhood. Victimhood, I mean by like when your husband goes off to war and your husband dies, and then you're left alone with the kid back in the day, right? That's what I mean by victim. They are a victim really of that circumstance, because their husband, the person they decide to build a life with, he ends up going to war or something, and then he dies, and then they're left with the kid, and they're left with all these problems, and everything's left on their shoulders. So that's what I mean by victim, not like in a bad way. I'm just trying to get this concept through to you guys. So that is a really feminine trait, but we all have this masculine energy, and I want you guys to understand that sometimes you need to access that masculine energy to be assertive, to be competent in certain areas that warrant your focus and your energy. And I just want you guys to start utilizing this masculine competence. Utilize this tool in scenarios like I've just explained, where something doesn't seem right. You're always willing to ask and find out why it doesn't seem right, and get an explanation instead of just letting it fly over your shoulder and forgetting about it, right? They say there's a status quo, and I've always been skeptical of it. Like, there's a status quo, and I'm always out competing it. I'm always going ahead. For example, on my birthday, I worked out for 4 or 5 hours, just weightlifting, running, and because I wanted to start the next year of my life off and on the right path, essentially. So I came up with this concept of masculine competence, because in certain situations that require competence, you're gonna have to access this masculine energy. And it's going to require you to be assertive, use some of these masculine traits, being assertive, questioning, being the opposite of passive, which a lot of us don't want to do, but because it's uncomfortable or we're not feeling like it, our mood's not the best that day, so we don't want to talk to anybody. We don't want confrontation, but sometimes confrontation is exactly what we need. You can't be scared of it, because if you let confrontation stop you, you're gonna let everything stop you. You're gonna let all these little things get in your way and stop you. And I don't want you guys to be like that. I want you guys to be strong enough to know when you need to access this masculine competence, and ultimately being the best version of yourself. Okay, that's what this all comes down to. When you're able to access both energies, you're able to be the best version of yourself at all times, okay? And sometimes it's not the most comfortable thing, but sometimes it's the most necessary thing. And I really think this concept's gonna help you guys a lot and provide tremendous value. Okay, everybody, if this video provided value to you, I want you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell so you get reminded of every time I drop a video. Remember, guys, be grateful for the little things. Tomorrow's not promised, and that's the bottom line. All right, guys, I love you.